We've had this little bird that's been just hanging out up here while we were doing construction, and we've tried to get it to go out the windows, but just not doing it. So last night, Kelsey opened this window over here, put down some water on the floor, but when I came in this morning, looks like the wind blew that over, and so the bird's still up here, but for some reason, we cannot get it to move out of these windows. So we're gonna probably try maybe putting something down right on the windowsill, as far as food or something like that. It just will not go away. So trying to get it out of here before it obviously ends up not making it, and we'll see. Eventually we'll have all these tiled in, but for now I'm just trying to direct water around before we are supposed to get a pretty good amount of rain in the next couple days. We'll always see if that's actually true or not, but that's what's supposed to happen, so we'll find out. Not sure if you'll be able to see it or not, or even if you'll be able to hear me in these gale force winds, but my cover crop is also coming in really nice. A lot of fun out here in the wind.
Insert the current key, turn it 90 degrees to the right, insert the smart key into the tool hole, remove the smart key tool, remove the current key without rotating, insert the new key.
I'm glad you understand directions, because that means gibberish to me.
Really?
Well, I'm not reading it either, but I guess.
Worked. Okay, I know what I'm doing now. Let's do the other 8 doors.
So for those of you following along with what we decided on these doors, we talked about this in our last video, but this was supposed to be an outswing and it just didn't have any trim piece around it. So we did not take them back. We just kept the ones that we had, and Paul built this custom trim piece around the outside so it looks like it should be done that way, and now it opens out the way that it should and it looks nice. Where's he at? Why it won't go down?
I don't know. The stupid thing is he was sitting right on that sill. It's almost like he's claimed this house as his own, and he's like, no, people, you don't understand. I live here now.
I can't open any of those other windows because the breeze is too much from that side.
Yeah, well, I did open those 2 south windows. We can close them if you don't want them open. He's getting a little braver.
Up in the top.
He's up in the ridge cap right now.
Probably thinking that it's way too damn cold out.
He's got a lot of energy. He's got to be eating something. Flies or something, maybe? Bugs?
Maybe. Remember how I was preparing the gutters for a possible storm? 3 inches.
This was a gift from a family member, and it's getting hit out here, so I'm going to let it go dormant in the shop over winter. I could probably put it in the ground, but at this point I just don't know a good spot for it, so I'm gonna let it go dormant over winter, and we'll put it in the landscape in the spring. So, a couple of pumpkins for my family. The rest of them are still at home on the porch, but I said I was going to get a pumpkin out here before fall was over, so here we go. We're going to go put these by the front door. Six months until this is a daily occurrence, and I get to play in the dirt again and not be so cold.
The ground certainly wasn't dried out, but a few days later we had our internet line installed. We're extremely excited to have fiber internet for the first time. While that was going on, Paul was helping with some custom metal work around some vents that were installed as part of HVAC. There's a whole lot more to this HVAC story, so we'll share that in a video very soon. Inside the shop, the garage doors had been installed, and we absolutely love this vertical lift system on the smaller doors. It saves a lot of space, and with the tall ceilings, it's perfect. The clouds were racing through the sky as it looked like a storm was approaching, while Paul moved to the west side of the building to help finish a few more vents over there as well.
So you're right in that seam? Jake? Yep. Okay.
Back in the shop, the guys were finishing up metal. Paul was working above the newly installed garage doors, and Jake and Cash were finishing up the walls. Very soon we'll have this shop lit up like a Christmas tree, and these dark afternoons will be no more. A few days later, that rain turned into our first snow flurries of the season. I spent one late afternoon power raking the loose rock on the edges of the driveway back into the driving surface so that they can be packed down. The cold and dark days of winter appeared to be setting in. The flurries of a few days ago didn't stick, but our first real snow of the season decided to show up a little early this year. We enjoyed the view while mapping out our insulation for the building. You know I'm not an early riser, but luckily Paul's camera guy Justin was kind enough to capture the early morning magic of this first snow. I made my way through the winter wonderland and realized the defroster is good for more than just cleaning off the windshield. It's also great at warming cookies too. I arrived at Westbury with the green old machine and wow. The trails at Westbury are always fun to explore, but even more so when there's snow. Off in the distance on this stroll through the woods, I found this guy. Now that the walls are done in the shop, it's time for electrical. And I spent some time marking out locations for our electrician. We started to migrate some of the equipment into the space, and it's going to be such an amazing place to work for many years to come. Well, it certainly turned into a winter wonderland outside very quickly here, and for those of you wondering, yes, it is slightly early for our time frame, but if you've been paying attention at all to any of my channels over time or learning more about the Midwest, you just have no idea what's going to happen day to day. It can be 70 or 80 degrees, the next day it can be 20 degrees and snowing. It might seem crazy, but it is actually very true. A lot of times in the last few years, it has been very, very minimal snow, and that I do not enjoy because it just ends up being a dark and dreary couple months during the winter time when you can't go out and do a whole lot and there's no snow to make it look better. So I personally really enjoy it. I know a lot of other people don't, but just my personal opinion. So to update you on the bird up here, we had the windows open. Kelsey opened them up one afternoon while it was still nice outside about 4 days ago when it was 70. And we came up here, she saw it down on the windowsill and kind of moving around, and then it flew back up, but then we came up later on and it was gone. So I walked through the whole attic, walked all the way down to the other side of the building on these little walkways that Paul built for us, and I didn't see it anywhere, so I'm pretty sure that it did leave. And now that we have this plastic on the ceiling, we're hoping that it did leave because it's not going to be coming back out, but I have not heard it chirping or moving around or flying, so pretty sure it is gone. Good news on that front, we're getting very close now to putting in the drywall. That'll be starting right after Thanksgiving. We'll have some updates on when we're moving, all of that stuff, but we are moving in here very shortly and things are not done by any means, but we'll talk about that plan too and a few other things that have been happening with just the general build and the stresses of a custom home and all that stuff. This year's been filled with so many firsts. And while this might look like work and even torture to some, the first snowfall and shovel of every winter season is something that I look forward to and cherish. And let's just say, I didn't rush through this one.